Okay, Rabbi say, welcome back to the next installment of the Sugya of Shomer Aveda. This is Shir Chaf, part 1. And just a word of warning before you begin, and that is, please make sure that you understand the past 3 videos. Continue only if you fully understand them. You will not understand what is going on in this video without mastering the materials we discussed in the last 3 videos. If you need to refresh your memory, please go back and review the last 3 videos and then only proceed after you are confident that you understand them. We are going to be beginning in the Gemara on the bottom of Daf Nun Vav Amud Beis and doing the first 2 lines on Daf Nun Zayin Amud Aleph. Just to refresh your memory of what we're dealing with over here, we have on one side we have Rabbah, and on the other side we have Rav Yosef. Rabbah holds that a Shomer Aveda has the halacha of an unpaid watchman, and Rav Yosef holds that he has the status of a paid watchman, a Shomer Sachar. Rabbah holds he has the status of an unpaid watchman, a Shomer Chinam, which would mean that if it gets stolen, he is patur for Geneva of Aveda, because he's only obligated to do a normal watching, a good watching, not a super terrific watching, and if it gets stolen, he is patur. Rav Yosef, on the other hand, holds that he has the status of a paid watchman, which means that if it gets stolen, he is chayev. So this is the battle of the titans between Rabbah and Rabbi Yosef, and the Gemara now will proceed to try to prove one of these sides is correct. We're going to be beginning now from the bottom, the last line on Daf Nun Vav Amud Beis, the last 4 words, Esvei Rav Yosef l'Rabbah. Now, I suggest again that when you look at this video, just look at the bottom first and get it from there, and then afterwards go back and review the video while you're looking at the top. The arrow will follow exactly what I'm reading, and it will put commas, question marks, periods, etc. Okay, let's begin. Esivei Rav Yosef. Rav Yosef asked the Rabbah to Rabbah. Rav Yosef is going to prove that a Shomer Aveda has a din of a Shomer Sachar, a paid watchman, from the following brisa. The brisa says 2 cases. Number 1, it says, Hirzira, if he returned it, if a Shomer Aveda returned it, a lost object. Everything that is in red in the parenthesis in the translation is just words that I'm filling in so it would make the literal translation easier to be understood, because Hirzira means if he returned it. So if he, meaning a Shomer Aveda, returned it, a lost object, l'makom, to a place, she'irena, that he, the owner, will see it. So in our case, where a guy has lost a ball, someone picked it up, knows who the owner is, and leaves it in front of their house. Is that a good returning or not? So the brisa says, Eino chayav. He isn't obligated letapel, to deal with it. Once he leaves it in front of the house, he is no longer obligated to deal with it. The finder can leave the ball in front of the owner's house, and he doesn't have to deal with it anymore. He could go home, go to sleep, and it would sound like if it got stolen, he doesn't have to deal with it, and he is patur. He fulfilled his obligation of returning it to the owner, and he's patur. Okay, that's simple enough. Somebody who found an object, gave it back to the owner in front of his house, assuming the owner is going to be able to see it, then he could leave it there, and he doesn't have to deal with it anymore. If it gets stolen, he's patur. The brisa now continues with the second case. And the second statement, second statement, where it says, Nigneva, if it was stolen, ay avda, or lost, chayav b'achriyusa. He is obligated to be responsible for it. The finder is obligated to be responsible for it. Now this means, again, back to our case over here. The guy left the ball in front of the house. If it gets stolen, the finder is obligated, which sounds like if a robber came, stole it, then he is chayev. Now this is difficult to understand, because the first statement sounds like when you give it back, his eino chayev letapel ba, he no longer has to deal with it, which would sound like he was patur. But then you just said that if it gets stolen, he's chayev. So how do you understand this? It seems to be a contradiction. So just to recap over here, statement number 1 in the brisa is that if he returned it to the owner's house, he doesn't need to deal with it anymore, which leads us to believe that if it gets stolen, he's patur. But then you said, if it gets stolen or lost, he's responsible for it, which means that if it gets stolen, he's chayev. So how do you understand these two statements? Statement number one of you said that if it gets stolen, he's chayev, but the first statement you said is that if it gets stolen, he's pater. It would seem to indicate if it gets stolen, he's pater. So how do you understand this seeming contradiction in this brisa? So stay tuned for the next shiur where we will answer this question, and that answer will prove that Rav Yosef is indeed correct, that a shomer aveda has the status of a shomer sachar, a paid watchman.